All right, in this video we have the Introduction to Geometric Figures workspace here in MATHia. And so I'm going to go through this with you in case you're having trouble solving it on your own. We can maybe go to, or you can go to different parts of this video and see which ones you're having trouble with. I'll help you figure it out. All right, so in this first one says, watch the animation, then complete the statement. So after you watch this video, right, I'll just kind of skip through it a little bit. It has some of these different parts. In fact, I'm going to pause on this part of the video where it talks about a point, a line segment array, and an angle, as well as a line. All right, and it says in geometry, a point, we have some different spots here. This is going to be a location in space. You can see we have the green check mark as we are correct. A line is made up of blank points, and this is going to be an infinite number. If you put a bunch of dots together, you can get an infinite number of points. A line continues forever in both directions. In a diagram, the line is represented with, and this says we have some choices. We have a point on each end, an arrow on each end, a point on one end, and an arrow on the other. So remember, a line has to have, since it continues forever in both directions, it's going to have an arrow on both ends or on each end here. A line segment, is this going to be does or does not continue forever in each direction? This one does not, because it's going to stop, right? This is the line segment over here. It stops on either side. Back to the questions. A line segment is part of a line. It does not continue forever in both directions. In a diagram, the line segment is represented with, this is going to be, instead of the arrow on each end like a line had, this is going to be a dot on each end, or it should say a point. A point on, let's see, a line segment is part of a line. So it's going to be a point on each end. A ray extends infinitely. This is going to be in one direction. Okay, this is a ray over here in one direction. You can get that straight from the video. A ray continues forever in only one direction. In the diagram, a ray is represented with, this is going to be a point on one side and an arrow on the other. There we go. And then lastly, two rays or line segments that have the same blank form an angle. Two rays or line segments that have the same, this is going to be vertex, or I guess we'll say endpoints. I don't think they quite know what a vertex is yet. That's okay. All right, so let's see if we can go to the next dot up here and try some of these. Here we need to drag the highlighted geometric figure to the bin that correctly identifies it. And we have a point, line segment, and ray again. And if you kind of look at which part's being highlighted, it's a little bit hard to see for me. I wish I could zoom in on that. But it looks like this, I think, I need glasses, but no, I think it's going to be this section right here. To me, that looks like that is a line segment, if I'm seeing that right. There we go. And this one is going to be a ray. It's continued with the arrow because it starts at one spot and continues in one direction. Let's try this one. This is another ray. It starts at the dot and it goes forever in one direction. This one, you can see both arrows are highlighted, and so this is going to be a line. It continues forever in both directions. Right here, this is just going to be the dot that's highlighted, so it's going to be a point in the top box there. This one is another line. Both arrows are highlighted. And then lastly, this one, it looks like it's one dot and another, and line segment in between, so that's going to be a line segment. Just like that. All right, so we're done with that section, nothing below it. So let's hit done. Okay, here you can read over here about some of these different parts. We have, looks like, some different angles and rays and things. Let's go to the questions though. It says analyze the diagram and name the figures, or name the geometric figures on the left. Then select the type of geometric figure highlighted in each diagram and select the name for a figure. So kind of like that last slide we had where we drug those over to the different parts. This is going to be just a line segment. So it says line segment as it starts and ends at a dot. A name for the highlighted geometric figure. This is going to be AB with a line segment on top. So you can see this one has arrows on top. This one has a line segment on top. It's going to be this answer. This one's a ray as it's just one arrow. And then if this symbol's in front, this means an angle. So we want to go back to this one as it's a line segment. It's going to start and end in both. All right, and that dropped us down to the next question because we were correct. Okay, let's see this one. It says the highlighted geometric figure above this one. This is a ray as it starts at a dot and it goes forever in one direction. It says a name for the highlighted geometric figure is, this is going to be ray BC. It has to start the B, and then with the arrow above the C, it's going to go on forever in the C direction. So if I have BC with the arrow above the C, it's going to be this one. Right, we were correct, so drop this down to question 3 now. When there's 2 rays that are connected at an endpoint, this is called an angle. And it says name for this highlighted figure. This is going to be angled. You have to use 3 letters, and the B, the middle one, is the vertex. That has to be in our middle letter. So it's either going to be A, B, D, or you could say it backwards, D, B, A. But that angle symbol also has to be in front. So it looks like they did DBA with the angle symbol in front here. So they were correct. All right, the highlighted figure above this one, this is a line because it has an arrow on both sides. And this is going to be line. You can choose any 2 points on here. Usually, I like to do the outside ones, D and E or E and D. Let's see what they have for our choices. Yeah, it looks like DE with the arrows above both. If you had the segment, that'd be wrong because it has to continue forever past those with the arrows. All right, and I think we're done with this section, so we have one more. All right, and again, this one kind of gave some different ways to name these things over here. So let's see if we can answer these questions. It says, notice that a line can be named by 2 points, by any 2 points on the line. The ordering of the points of a line, does it matter or does it not matter? And if we look over here, this figure says this is AD. Notice that these are all switched around. If I have AD and I'm looking for maybe one is DA, this one right here, because those are switched, they're flip-flopped, this one does not matter. A line named by points has more than one name. Let's see, a line named by points, you could say, this would, I believe, always, yeah, because it's a line. So I had to think about that for a second. This is a line as opposed to some of these other ones. So the key word here is line, and so this is going to be always. Notice that a line segment can be named by its endpoints. The order of the points naming a line segment does or does not matter. This is the same as a line. It does not matter. And then a line segment named by points always has more than one way. You can always flip-flop those. So for example, if the only ones on the line segment, like if I have CE here, I could always switch those and say EC. I can always flip-flop. Notice that a ray can be named by its endpoints and any second point on the ray. The ordering of the points naming a ray, this one does matter. You always have to start at the endpoint. So this does matter. And then a ray named by points, this is going to be, sometimes we'll have more than one. And for example, you can see like CA, the ray CA over here. You also name this CB, and they had that list out here. However, ray CE, this one does not have another name as there's no other points on this ray. It's just an E. So this is going to be sometimes. It says, notice that an angle can be named by 3 points. A second point naming an angle is always the vertex of the angle, and the other points lie on different rays for that angle. The ordering of the first and the third points of an angle does not matter. So for example, you could either say ECD or DCE. So this one does not matter. And it says an angle named by 3 points, this is always going to have more than one name. Again, you can always flip-flop those. All right, so I think we are done with that section. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if it helped you out, please leave a like down below.